Welcome. Yes, you're in the new Providence. Where niggas get to snapping like they got no common sense. When we approach with confidence, revoking confidence. His offense stiff enough to throw the hardest to the fence. But raw is what he is. You can't stop it like jail runs. And ain't no topping him. He's opposite of well done. Rare without care, put clocks on the line. Comfortable with my flow, it's like I got Crocs on my rhymes. No rocket science, fuck the.
Yo, it is no rocket science, man. Welcome back. It's F4 and we back in the
Yes,
building.
sir.
50% fuss, 50% fantasy football. It's 2020 and we still 100% facts.
Haha, boy.
It's actually 2022, you know what I'm saying? But everything feels like 2020. We back in the midst of this COVID, man, and so is the sports. But enough about that. Let's get into the people that are here to bring in the new year with me. I got my boy Jay Reeves, the gambler.
Jay Reese got that dope, spitting them hot takes. Stay away from the fakes. FO, we in the building.
Bow, bow. And we also got my boy Silly C with the numbers.
Haha, it's your boy. Let's get
It's
him.
your
It's your boy.
boy. All right, man. Let's get this one going, man. We here and we here to talk about what's coming up. I know Silly C doing big things in the fantasy football playoffs,
Yes,
man. But
sir.
we'll get to that. We ain't gonna talk about our successes before we look forward. We must look back in a segment we call a day late and a dollar short. Let's get this going. All right, man. This is the segment we call a day late and a dollar short, man, and we about to get this going. And before we move forward and let y'all know what all the business is, we got to look back and let y'all know what we failed in some of our investments. Jay Reeves, you've been off for a week, man. How was your New Year, man? You get everything that Santa wanted to give you for Christmas and your New Year's and all that?
Yeah, man. Santa bundled up a whole bag for me. A whole bag before we got to New Year's Eve. So I was good on Christmas, you know what I'm saying? But with that being said, man, I want to get into it. I'm gonna actually switch it up a little bit. I'm usually talking about my bets. I have been off as of late going into the new year, but what I was really off with was some dudes who will never touch my fantasy team again. And I want to start with the likes of Stinkyo Elliott or
Mm.
Terry never score enough fantasy points McLaurin. But the dude who really pissed me off the most, the biggest troll of them are, would have to be Jamar Chase. I stayed away
Man.
from the bull because
Mm.
he was dropping passes in training camp. Then he also claimed, man, it's hard for me to see the football now that I'm not in college and it doesn't have that white stripe on it. And he went on to have one of the most phenomenal seasons by a rookie wide receiver ever. F you, Jamar Chase.
Man, F you. Man, that's just a crazy turn of events because I stayed away from Jamar Chase in a lot of my drafts, and he just been busting ass all year, and that's probably why I'm not in these final rounds. Silly C, let's not talk about your fantasy team. Let us know what fantasy players you were a day late and a dollar short on.
Man, I don't know. There's not too many of them. I mean, I had most of them on my teams, but outside that, nah.
Couldn't help himself.
I I have to say, not really a day late, dollar short, but I was a little. I picked Patrick Mahomes up too soon, and I think that kind of ruined my play in that season. So I'm kind of a day late, dollar short on picking him up. I wish I would have switched it and maybe got somebody later in the round, like a Stafford, that would allow me to get somebody a better position player. But yeah,
Yeah, man, like I can't even really remember what I had for breakfast, so it's hard for me to look back last week. But I'll tell you yesterday what busted me, man. We're gonna switch it over. I'm gonna do a crossover and bring it to the bucket list. How did the Bucks lose to the Pistons, man. Oh my God! I took
Stop
them
it.
on the
Stop it. That
on
shit
the
crushed.
money line.
That
I
shit
didn't
crushed
take
a
them with the
5 game
points. Bro,
parlay,
I
bro.
took them on
A
the money
5
line. It
game
was like
parlay.
minus like 1,600. I was just trying to pad the parlay, man. I took them on it. I was like, "Oh, you ruined this for me? How did that even happen, man?" The Detroit Dookie
Dookie.
Pistons. Detroit
Dookie.
Dookie Pistons came through and just busted the Bucks, man, and
Hey,
that shit just shredded up.
did you
What's
check to
up?
see what the Pistons was on the money line before that game?
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
didn't,
minus
but I think
16.
it was like
Oh.
plus like 680 or something, 650 or something. Like it was something chunky. I was just adding that to that. I just took him on the money line. I'm like, what thing do I know is gonna happen? I know the Bucks are gonna beat the Pistons. And when I seen that's what busted my parlay, I was absolutely disgusted looking at it, man. And that's just me looking at that. But kind of when you dig into your bag of tricks and recap the year, man, there's a bunch of bets that we were a day late and a dollar short on, and some teams or players, may I say, we were like a year late and a bag short on, man. Man, like let's go ahead and recap this last year, man, and I'll go ahead and kick it off. I believe the Atlanta Hawks was the team I slept on the most last year in the playoffs. They busted me. I had a lot of faith into the New York Knicks, man. I thought they was gonna get it done, and they just got embarrassed by the Hawks, man. Julius Randle showed who he was and kind of hasn't even bounced back from that playoff performance, kind of showing who he is. And it's just kind of disgusting to see how many games I picked against them and how many times I lost with the Atlanta Hawks because they went on to do a lot of damage in the playoffs. And it got to the point where I couldn't bet against them. And right when I stopped betting against them, that's when they lost. So I feel like even when they wasn't winning, they was losing, man. Jay Reeves is you said Jamar Chase. Cody, you said the other thing that was kind of a year long bet, man. Is there any year long people that you were short on in 2021?
Hmm.
Reeves, silly.
Man, I can go ahead, like you
I
said.
know
You
you
had it right
said
at first when
Zeke,
you said
Chase.
recrap. When you said recrap, because we can recrap the season, and I'm telling you right now, the underdogs jumping up and bite me on a whole bunch of different bets. I got to go into this year a little bit different and pick a lot more underdogs. I know that's usually your vein. I usually just like to pick winners, but I'm gonna have to start siding with you there. I'm gonna say the main thing that got me this year on a lot of fantasy teams, still affecting the basketball fantasy team, is the vid, man. The
Yeah,
vid.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that vid is
That
crucial,
shit's
man.
all
That's been
bad.
killer.
Yeah, it's kind of been taking my umph out of the fantasy basketball season. Silly C, what was your year long and bag late bet?
Yeah, that's kind of the it. Like, there's been several times where I've had to rush to free agency or drop somebody on IR or, not be able to play somebody because I got multiple people that got the vid. It's just been kind of a horrible year for that. It's been very hard to replace people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Talk about tough years. I'm getting a reminder on Facebook that I won the championship last year, and that was a year ago. So I'm a year late and a whole championship short this year because I'm not in any more playoffs this year.
Man,
But
if you
that's
don't get your
beside
ass
it.
out of here talking about your fantasy team,
Man, whatever, man. Y'all ain't got to fuss with it, man. But if you fuss with us, subscribe to the channel so you stuck with us. FO, baby.
FO.